Hello, everybody. What's going on? Welcome on into another day of the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. With me, your host, Sam Peterson. We're going to be doing these challenges for the next 2 weeks together. We're going to be doing them this week, next week, and then we're going to have 2 weeks of replays. So it's 9 challenges, Monday through Friday for these 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks of replays of those same challenges. Uh, Hello, everyone. Good to see you. I see Wade in the chat, General Kenobi, Gareth, Sean, Susan, both Susans. Hello, Susan. Charles, Stony, Clarissa. Cartoon yourself or Cattoon yourself. You could. If you guys want to do a cat version. Actually, it's funny that you say that. I think you're predicting things to come a little bit. Welcome on in, everyone. Good to see you. So let me show you how to join these challenges before we jump into them, shall we? If you go to this landing page here at behance.net/challenge/Photoshop, you'll see this. You'll see the big blue button here at the top. That's how you can register for these challenges. Get notifications when we're revealing new ones, and all of them are revealed down here. So yesterday we did the perspective match. Talked a little bit about perspective and scenes. And today we're doing cartoon yourself. So I don't know if anyone remembers some trend that was happening. I'm bad with time, a year ago, 2 years ago, who knows, but it was some sort of like, let me know if you guys know the name of it. It was something like cartoon yourself or tunify yourself or something like that, where people would do a painting of them in their style, and then the other half would be a photo of them. So we're kind of doing something like that today. If you do want to join these challenges, I do want to tell you about the community Discord that you can join. Definitely check that out. It's the Photoshop community Discord where you can post any designs that you've been working on for these challenges. There's sections like Design Other where you can post other challenges. Other designs that aren't related to the challenges. There's ones for past challenges. But any of the challenges that we're doing now for the next 2 weeks, you can all post those in the challenge section here for the next month, because we'll be doing the replays as well. There's a question section here. Actually, let me move my big ol' head. There's ask a question section over here, but these are all the different channels on the left, and you'll be able to find everything you need through that. So with that said, I think that's everything I wanted to cover. Hey, what's up, Betty? Bruce, I think I got you. Odari. Anyone else I missed? Tim Loomis. Yeah, welcome on in, everyone. Good to see you. So let's jump into Photoshop. The time has come. Let's see here. Pop that up. There we go. All right, so I'm going to move myself over here so I'm not in the way of the layers panel. I remembered this time. Derva, hello. Jay, what's going on? Good to see you. All right, so we're going to do this cartoon effect where we make half of the photo cartoon, half of the photo. So this is me with one of my kitties. This is Eminem. Mercurial may recognize. I think some of you may recognize this cat. I know Wade has seen him. We're going to turn this into like a cartoon image and then merge it with the photo image. So let's get started with that. First off, I've noticed that this effect works better when it's small. So having a really high resolution file, I feel like you'll find out why it doesn't work so much, but I feel like there's too much detail and the filters that we're going to apply latch onto that. So I'm actually going to convert this to 1,000 pixels tall. So pretty small. We're going to shrink it down here. But I think this effect works a little bit better when we do that. So first off, make sure it's small. I'm going to separate the subject from the background next. So I'm going to create a backup image. You see we have our background image here. I'm going to double click it to just turn it into a normal layer so I can modify it. But I'm going to do Control or Command J to duplicate it. And the one at the bottom, I'm just going to type backup. That'll just be our backup that we have. Command or Control Shift N to create a new layer. And this is going to be our new background. I'm just going to put white for now. That way I can kind of see this a little bit easier. So let's separate the subject from the background. We have our original photo backed up. I'm going to go ahead and select my quick selection tool here. The hotkey for that is W. And you'll see the select subject button here at the top. I'm going to click that, and that usually does a pretty good job. This is kind of all like AI driven, but you can always manually mask it more if you go to select and mask, the button next to it. We can then go in and refine it. There's different kind of viewing modes here just to separate it from the background to get a good view. But actually, I think this did a pretty good job. And for our purposes, we do not need a really refined selection with like soft edges for hair and all that stuff. So I'm just gonna click OK. I like it. From here, I'm gonna click the mask button right here at the bottom next to the FX button. And that will cut it out for us. That looks pretty good to me. I do notice this bit on the hair I don't really care for, so I'm gonna just take black with my brush tool, which is B for brush, and I'm just gonna paint over that. Again, I'm not looking to be super precise here, but that was bugging me. So that's easy to mask out. Remember, black conceals, white reveals on the mask layer here, the little black and white icon. Make sure you're selecting that when you're masking. All right, that looks pretty good. What do I want to do from here? I'm going to make this layer that we just masked out. I want to make it a smart object. So I'm going to right click the layer, convert to smart object, and then I'm going to do Control or Command J to duplicate it. Now, the one on the bottom I'm going to name color, and the one on the top I'm going to name lines. So if you can see what we're doing here, for this cartoon effect, I'm going to create a line layer for like a convincing kind of like hand-drawn or inked lines. And that's going to be the top, and then the bottom one will be the colors. So it's kind of, if you think like comic books, you have the inking and then you have the coloring. That's kind of what we're separating it here. Cat looks like he's saying, what is Sam looking at? Do you guys know how many pictures I had to take to get one that looked good? We were just like rapid firing these pictures with each cat, and this was the best one with Eminem. You can kind of see the slight paw, like, I might jump off. Thinking about it. All right. From here, let's go ahead and work on the lines first. So for the lines, I'm gonna do filter at the top here, filter gallery, and then we're going to do poster edges. So if you click poster edges here, you'll see these effects. For me, I think I found that 0, 1, and 6 work the best, but this is gonna differ by your image, so play around. The issue I have with higher res images is all these little black dots become more and more pronounced. So you can kind of see if you do edge intensity up, it makes those bolder, which I don't really want. Edge thickness doesn't actually affect too much. It kind of gets rid of some of those thinner ones. But I think 0, 1, and 6 will work pretty well. Posterization is kind of the color behind it, but I'm going to leave that at 6 because we'll have another effect for that. We're just worried about the lines right now. From here to kind of refine some of those dots, I'm actually going to go to, let's see, I want to go to Image, Adjustments, and Threshold, and that's going to have a good amount of control over that. Black conceals, white reveals. Yeah, I did not make that up. I think I got that from Jesus. But yeah, it definitely helps me remember it too. So as you see, if you adjust the threshold, you'll kind of adjust how much of those black marks are showing. I think somewhere around like 60 looks pretty good. And you're going to see that it turns it black and white completely, which is exactly what we want. From here, we still have this kind of ugly pixelated look. I find that the oil paint filter smooths that out pretty nicely. So we're going to go to Filter, Stylize, and Oil Paint. And you can see here, it softens it up. It's a bit too much, that stylization. I think I want to turn that down to something like 1. Whoops, I didn't mean to confirm that. We'll go back, Stylize, and Oil Paint. So 1, 3, 0.1, and 0 look pretty good. Yeah, I think I like that. I think we'll keep that. It gives it a smoother look without being too crazy. So right now we kind of got this, you know, kind of convincing hand-drawn or inked, stylized graphic look, whatever you want to call it. But I think we could push that a little bit further. We still have some little artifacts that I'd like to get rid of. The threshold did a really good job, but let's create a levels adjustment layer. One of my favorite layer types. And I'm going to right-click that and do create clipping mask. It's going to clip it to our line layer. And I'm just going to, yeah, see how it starts to get rid of the dark bits when I take the rightmost slider and I pump up the lights. So I think somewhere around 200 might be pretty good for that. Yeah, that looks good to me. Let's keep that. I like it. Lastly, I'm going to change this mode to multiply. Oh, whoops, not the, I do this a lot. I clicked the wrong layer. So that's the levels adjustment. I'm going to do Control or Command Z, and I'm going to select my lines and put that to multiply. There we go. So now we have this little effect over our color, but the colors don't look cartoony, right? They don't have that same effect. So now we need to work on the color layer down here. So for the color layer, I think I want to do a surface blur just to smooth out the details a bit. So if I go to Filter, Blur, Surface Blur, it'll take me into this, and you'll be able to see the effects. I find Threshold has the most dramatic effect. You can see how it looks in the preview. I was just blurring it to oblivion. But you can actually get pretty blurred with the line over it. The line really solidifies it. But I found that for me, 20 radius and 10 threshold works pretty well. We're going to apply different effects, so this isn't going to be solely responsible for the cartoony color. So I think 20 and 10 looks pretty good. You can see that happening on the main image. It's a subtle effect, but it's nice. And then from there, I'm actually going to do oil paint again. So we're going to go to Stylize. Filter, Stylize, Oil Paint. And for this one, I might take this stylization to 2. And I think I'll leave the other settings the same. 2, 3.0, 0.1, and then 0.0. That looks pretty good to me. And now we're already kind of getting a pretty nice stylized effect, I think. Oil paint is just good for like softening things, I find a lot. There's a lot of options you can play with, but I like that effect that it has. So from here, I think we'll apply one more filter. We're doing a lot of filters. I'm going to go to Filter, Filter Gallery once again, and once again under the Artistic tab, we will do Filter Cutout. There's Cutout. I knew we had it somewhere. So the number of levels is going to drastically affect this look, right? And this is going to differ by picture. I'm kind of going for what, the colors, like those colors are very weird, but graphically it simplifies your image. So I actually found that 8 and 6 look the best for this particular image. But I think 8 I like. Edge simplicity is really neat because it kind of simplifies the graphic shape. So you can actually get some really cool stylized effects here. But I think I like 2. So 8, 2, 2 look pretty good for this image. And now we kind of got this stylized effect. So if I take off the lines, you can kind of see what that looks like. It's not bad. We're getting there. Sam could use a neck ruffle, man. If you know where to get one, I need to buy one up. Hey RB, good to see you. Welcome on in to anyone who's just popped in recently. All right, so where are we at? I think the colors don't look quite how I want them to. They're very desaturated. I'm not quite feeling that. So let's go to Layer, New Adjustment Layer. A lot of adjustment layers too. Hue and Saturation. We're just kind of gradually applying more and more effects until we fine tune it to get what we want. So for Hue and Saturation, I just want to pump up the saturation a little bit. Maybe like, yeah, that's not bad. Like 14, 15, somewhere in that ballpark. But it's a little orange for me, so I might tweak the hue. If I go left, which is the negative numbers, it goes more red. Positive is more yellow, so I think I want it just a little bit more red. Maybe like 2. Maybe something like that, but it's still not quite right. I like the saturation, it's better, but we need a levels adjustment. It's too dark, it's not cartoony enough. So let's do a levels adjustment, and then we'll tackle the background, because the background's not quite working for me. It's hard to gauge how this looks with just a stark white background. So let's do a little bit of boost for the levels. I'm taking the rightmost slider, blowing it up. Maybe like 200. It's pretty good. We can always adjust these after we do the background. It's hard for me to gauge, but I like that brighter and more saturated look. That doesn't look quite cartoony to me. This looks a lot more cartoony. So let's get that background. I have the background layer here. Actually didn't name it. I encourage you all to name your layers. I think it's a good habit. And I'm going to press G for the paint bucket tool right over here. And you can try different colors. That's not a pleasant color. Yeah, something like that. Maybe a little bit brighter. You can get some cartoony, you know, nice bold colors. You can really do whatever you want. Ooh, that's intense. But let's try a gradient. I think a gradient might be nice. Oh, you guys probably can't hear it because of my filter, but if you heard a cat in the background, that's actually this cat. He's got woes. If you're not familiar with the gradient tool, you can go down here. You can click the little gradient bar up the top left, and you'll have a lot of default ones here. But if you want to create your own, you just click this little square, and then you can click the color box here, and you can change the color to whatever you want. You can also add in more colors by clicking right below the bar. You'll see that hand icon pop up, and you can slide that around. You can make that whatever gradient you want. You can also grab it and drag it away to get rid of it. But I like this gradient. I'm going to reverse it. I'm going to go from top to bottom. There we go. That's not too bad. Let's zoom out. Something like that looks kind of nice. I like that. All right. The goatee is included, yeah. You got to have the goatee if you got the ruffles. That's for sure. All right, so where are we? I think this is pretty good. Did I miss anything? No, I think I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and try to organize my layers further. This just works better for my brain. I'm going to select all the layers for both the color and the line effect that we just did. Not a lot of them, but those ones we just worked on. I'm going to press Control or Command G to group it. And I'm just going to name this lines and color. Helps me organize it a little bit better. I don't want that to be green. It's color coded. No color. And next what I want to do is Control or Command Alt Shift E, which basically makes a completely merged version of what we just created. So that's all on one layer now, that cartoon effect. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate our backup layer. I knew I need that. So the original photo, I'm going to do Control or Command J. I'm going to bring that up. So that's the original photo. And I'm going to name this just photo. All right. So what we want to do here is we have our cartoon and I want to merge it with the photo. So it's kind of doing that trend that I saw on Instagram some time back where it's like, you know, cartoonify yourself and it merges it with the realistic photo. So how do we do that? You might have guessed it. We're going to mask it. Also, if anyone has any questions, let me know as we're going. I'm trying to glance at chat here and there. Hopefully I'm not missing anything. Oh, did someone say the kitty with the ruffle? That would be perfect if we had matching collar ruffles. Ooh, you guys have better ideas than I do. All right, so I'm going to use the polygonal lasso tool. It's right here. It's under the lasso tool. You can, if your lasso tool is usually selected, you can actually do Shift L and cycle through them. Just a little hotkey tip if you're cycling through the same tool category repeatedly. I'm going to click outside the canvas, and I'm just going to create like this lightning bolt effect, kind of going through my face in an interesting way so we can see a cool part of the cartoon, but we can also see a little bit of the photo. I want to mostly highlight the cartoon. So I'm going to select most of the face there. I think that's good. A good selection of my face will be kind of the cartoonified look. And then I want to get maybe like split it on the eye there for Eminem, for my kitty. And then, yeah, maybe like right there would look cool. And then a little bit of his feet. See a little bit of his feet. And then I'm just going to connect this outside. So now we have our selection. I can go ahead and mask that. So we currently have our cartoon selected. I could even name this cartoon. So we got our cartoon on our photo, and I'm going to click the little mask button here at the bottom next to the FX button. Bam. So now we got this little like merging of worlds, but can you show us Eminem? I can't right now. If you guys come into my private streams, that sounds very exclusive. If you come into my Behance streams sometime on my own channel, let me know. I'll show you Eminem. We also have a couple foster kitties right now. We got Tumbleweed and Sesame, and they're pretty cute. So it's a cat packed house currently. All right, so this is cool, but it's missing a little something. I think we can add a little like glowing line across to separate them a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I think pen tool will be good for this. Pen tool is right here above the text tool, P for the shortcut. And I'm just going to click. No click and drag, just click right on the points. It's going to be a hard edge line. Boom. And you know what? I just realized I can't see where that other point is. So something we could do is just make this a different color. Switch to the paint bucket tool. There, I just made a layer underneath the cartoon layer, so it's not blending in with the darkness. So I'm gonna delete that shape I just made. We'll select our pen tool again. Same thing, just click on those points. But now we can clearly see the seam much more easily. There, line is too thick for me. Right here at the top, you'll see this little pixel slider next to the stroke. I'm gonna make it smaller. Maybe something like 6, 5. I don't want to cover up too much of the portrait, so I think 5 might be good. There, now we can get rid of this little purple backing. That was just temporary. I'm gonna delete that, I don't need it. And for this shape, we'll put borderline, because I like to name my layers. I'm gonna double click that to get into layer styles, and I'm going to do an outer glow. My settings are just like 63%, spread is 0, size is 5. You can play around with that, but I don't want it too intense. I kind of like what I had. So I'm going to leave that. Just a little bit of a glow, give it a little bit of pop. And then, yeah, it's not too shabby. So we're kind of getting near the end of this. One thing that I didn't like that the filters didn't do for me perfectly, and you're going to find this a lot. Filters and a lot of the tools within Photoshop get a lot of the work done, but sometimes you have to make those manual tweaks. So what I don't like is how only parts of the face are outlined. I think we could push that a bit more, especially the contour of the face, which I think should have the boldest outline. So I'm gonna do lines. I'm gonna just name this added lines. It's just a normal layer. And I'm gonna get my brush tool. I don't want this brush. I want like a hard round brush. I have this inking brush, it's hard round. With the pen selected, it has like variable sizing, but we don't need that. I'm just gonna make it smaller. You can use the bracket keys quickly to resize it. I'm gonna put the smoothing way up. I usually have my smoothing at 10% on my brush, but let's put it to like 75. I'm gonna pick black, and this is with a mouse, mind you. Smoothing makes it possible. I'm gonna just try to make a little bit of like manual lines here. And I can erase it, you know, if I go too far. This doesn't need to be perfect either. The way the effect is currently done, there's like little bits and pieces kind of randomly missing. And I want to do it on Eminem as well. So I'm just erasing with a hard brush here, you know, that kind of like broken effect I think works for this. For him, I think the broken effect is going to be even more important because he's got fur. So if you see anyone who's like a experienced inker, like a comic book artist or something, they're not going to draw fur with a clear unbroken line, right? So kind of mess that up. I'll just erase it. I may break the line up here and there, but just like doing it a little bit here and there kind of mimics the effect we just had. So it doesn't need to be perfect. In fact, it looks more realistic and natural if it's not. But that smoothing really helps that, I think. There, you know, we strengthen that a little bit more. So that looks pretty cool. I don't know if we have time, but the last thing I think I would want to do is probably, let's see, is probably select the shadow of my face. I feel like it's too desaturated. I think especially for cartoons, if you select like these shadow bits and make them a bit more, make them a bit more saturated, it'll have a little bit more of like a happy, vibrant cartoony look. So what I would do is select that with the magic wand tool, because these are like flat sections of color. I only want it on the cartoon bit. And then what I can do is adjustment layer, hue and saturation. But that's the last thing I can do today because I do gotta run. But you can bump up that saturation and change the color. I'll probably mask that out on the hands because it doesn't really look so good. Just choose black and paint over the hands a little bit. But that's pretty much it, everybody. I do have to call it. Just remember that we can post these challenges on the Discord. We have some awesome submissions here, some really cool stuff people are posting, so check it out if you haven't. Awesome job with the robot box perspective challenge, by the way, everyone. With the cover image, I've been seeing some really great ones. So keep it up, and if you want to join the challenges, just head to the landing page, and you can find them all there. That's going to be the easiest place, especially after all these recordings are done or the live sessions are done, to go back and find them. So I do have to run. Thanks so much for hanging out, everyone. Thanks for being here. Thanks for doing the challenges. I look forward to seeing more. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for another Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. Bye, everybody.